Hey guys, it's Dr. Justin Marcagiani here. Today's video is going to be on detoxification. Is detoxification real? You see all kinds of buzzwords out there about, hey, you got to do this detox. Let's talk about what that really means and is detoxification real? Before we dive in, put your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Make sure you smash that thumbs up, give me a like, and also hit the bell so you get notification of all that great content coming your way. All right, so let's dive in. So what is detoxification? So detoxification is something that does happen biochemically. We have what's called our cytochrome P450 oxidase pathways. We have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 2 and 3 are kind of similar. But essentially, phase 1 cytochrome P450 oxidase pathways are going to be B vitamin based, antioxidant based, and these are going to be taking toxins that are fat soluble, and they're going to be mobilizing them and making them more water soluble. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is going to be taking and utilizing a lot of these water-soluble toxins and excreting them, whether it's to the skin, kidneys, liver, and or stool. And that's going to be phase 2. And that's going to be typically sulfur amino acid based. You're going to see things like N-acetylation, glucuronidation, glutathione conjugation. These are going to be different kind of sulfur amino antioxidant pathways that are going to be used on phase 2. So lots of sulfur amino acids, some B vitamins, and you're going to see more B vitamins and more antioxidants on phase 1. So both are very important. So if we're getting nutrients from our food, like nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory whole food diet, we'll be getting adequate amounts of B vitamins, lots of good nutrition, antioxidants. We'll be getting a lot of sulfur amino acids. Now, as soon as we start to overload our system, so is detoxification real? Yes. But in general, we're always detoxifying. The question is, are we overwhelming our system? So how would that happen? So the more stressed we are, the more we're going to overwhelm our system. Why? Because cortisol is going to increase, and cortisol is going to start stripping out a lot of these amino acids and using them for glucose and for stress. So catabolic physiology will take a lot of those amino acids that may be used for muscle building, may be used for detoxification, and it's going to use them. And if we use them for stress and muscle, well, we're not going to have enough left over for detoxification. So it's possible stress can affect it. Obviously, if we're eating poor, we're not going to get enough of those nutrients. A lot of refined sugar, inflammatory foods, and to suck up B vitamins, antioxidants, magnesium, those kind of really important minerals. And then also, if we have gut issues, if we have digestive issues, we're not going to be able to break down, absorb a lot of those amino acids and nutrients to run those pathways. And of course, if we just overwhelm the system with pesticides, chemicals, hormones, glyphosate, different compounds in the heavy metals, different compounds in the environment, it could overwhelm our pathways where even a good detoxification system that's working well with all the nutrients could still be overwhelmed, and we could have issues. So the first thing I look at as a functional medicine doctor is we're looking at, where are the stressors coming from? Where are the toxins coming from in the lifestyle? Is there mold? Is there heavy metal exposure? Are we eating organic food? Are we drinking enough clean, filtered, mineral-infused water? Are we getting enough of those really good, clean nutrients, clean water? And are we avoiding toxins in our food and our hygiene products, toothpaste, soaps, deodorants? Are we doing pretty good there? Because if we can decrease toxins on the inflow, then we don't have to worry about pushing detoxification on the outflow. Does that make sense? That's a really important concept. People are trying to really lean into detoxification. Well, first thing is decrease the input of toxins. And then now if we have to work on detoxification, just getting the diet right is going to make a big difference. Just getting the ability to break down protein and fat better is going to help. Really making sure the food's organic. That's a really great start. Getting the adrenals and that fight or flight nervous system response under control so we have extra B vitamins we can utilize, so we have extra amino acids we can utilize. That's our first step. If we have gut infections, getting those bottlenecks fixed and supported. Now, once that's done and we're doing our best on the diet and lifestyle side, let's say we think there's extra mold in the environment. Well, we're going to fix the environment first, the home. We may do extra binders and things to help with phase 1 and phase 2 on the excretion side. If we see certain heavy metals there, we may work on giving certain binders and supporting glutathione. So it's going to depend upon what specific toxins are present. Of course, just getting general detox support going, right? Phase 1, phase 2 support will help with everything. It will help putting out various polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons from gasoline and the environment, industrial combustion engines, those kind of toxins. It's going to help with pesticides. It's going to help with mold. It's going to help with heavy metals. Now, we may have to target things differently. If we see molds are there in higher amounts, we may have to support that with more binders, more lymphatic support. If we see heavy metals are there, we may have to use special chelators like DMPS or DMSA or EDTA to help bind those up. So depending on the toxin, we have general detox support, and then we may add in more binders or specific detox support. And I typically always recommend detoxification later in any functional medicine program, just because so much of detoxification happens via hepatobiliary, so liver, gallbladder, and then into the gut and then out the stool. So if we have poor digestion and we have poor motility, we could really reabsorb a lot of toxins if we overly push that. So we got to be careful, making sure we have the foundation right makes a huge difference kind of out of the gates. So when I see patients, I always set the table first and deal with detoxification later. That makes a big difference. And people that have more detoxification issues, we may gently start off with binders and some gentle herbs before we go into phase 1 or phase 2 detoxification support. And in my line, phase 1 is usually antioxidant supreme or liver supreme. I use them for different reasons. Liver supreme will focus more on hepatobiliary and fat digestion. Antioxidant supreme is more specific for upregulating phase 1 detoxification, which is going to help with taking all those fat-soluble toxins and converting them to water-soluble. And phase 2 will involve more of those sulfur amino acids to make glutathione, which is the tripeptide, cysteine, glutamine, glycine, and then all the other antioxidants, methionine, taurine, and then, of course, calcium diglucarate, which is a great mold binder, and it's also a great estrogen binder as well. So we kind of apply these things in there to each patient, and we test them. So we'll look at these pathways. We'll look at them via organic acid, which are great. We can see methylation, so methylmalonic acid, or 4-aminoglutamate for folate. We'll look at things like sulfate and or pyroglutamate, which are helpful. See here, there's glucarate, which is another good one. Orotate, which is another big one. So there's a couple of different detoxification pathways. The most important for me are going to be pyroglutamate and sulfate, but there's a couple others as well that really give us a window into glutathione and to our sulfur amino acid levels. Also, intracellular red blood cell magnesium is another good marker if you wanted to do a blood test to look at your glutathione levels. Glutathione is kind of your master antioxidant, and when you're stressed, you're not eating enough protein, or you have poor digestion, that antioxidant will go a little bit lower. So again, this is Dr. J here. If you want to dial in and understand more about detoxification, those are kind of your first steps. Organic food, clean water, right? Get your hygiene products correct. No artificial hormones, xenoestrogens, pesticides, molds. And then if you want to dive in deeper with myself, you can click down below. You can schedule with myself or colleagues. We are available worldwide. And put your comments. Want to know what you think. Let me dive into some questions for y'all. We got a bunch of questions already in the queue. All right. Can Candida cause hearing loss? What would you recommend on starting point to kill off Candida? It definitely can. I see a lot of people that have tinnitus that have Hashimoto. So there's definitely a tinnitus ear ringing component that's autoimmune. And so if you have things that could drive autoimmune issue like gut problems, there can definitely be a connection. Is it direct causal? No, but there's definitely more of a correlation issue. You got to fix those things. So you work on addressing the diet and you work on fixing the microbial imbalances. How do you detect organ dysfunction and support it? So one of the first things, we'll test the hormones. We'll test the female hormones. We'll test the thyroid. We'll test the adrenals. Those are helpful. We'll look at gut function, inflammation. We'll look at gut infections. We'll look at absorption. Those are good first kind of couple tests that we can do to look deeper. Hey doc, a report was published regarding birth control pills was a major cause of cancer in women, causing estrogen, bloating, thyroid problems. Why is birth control pills downside untouched by doctors? Yeah, I think birth control pills are a major problem. If you look at birth control pills, they're typically loaded with estrogens, and they're synthetic estrogens that are going to have 5, 6, 7 times the effect of normal bioidentical estrogen. It's a big issue. I think conventional medical doctors had the first problem with artificial hormones when they were promoting Premarin and Provera in the early 2000s. That gave lots of women cancer because they're horse hormones, right? I mean, those hormones are meant for horses that come out of their mother's wombs walking and pretty big, right? So hormones have a major effect on growth. And of course, cancer is part of cellular growth, right? And so hormones are a big impact. So we got to make sure we avoid artificial ones. And birth control pills are I think it's a big tool that medical doctors have to control a lot of female hormone issues, headaches, and skin stuff. And they're not willing to give it up. I think if they truly wanted to give it up, they would go more integrative or functional medicine and use hormones more appropriately, more bioidentical, more at lower physiological levels, like functional medicine doctors do. If not, they just kind of use them as drugs because they're patentable, and that's the curriculum that pharmaceutical companies are going to push at the medical schools. And it's the one tool they have. And I wish we saw more people, more women that had hormonal issues see doctors like myself, because I get great results with those kind of cases for sure. Is reverse osmosis the only way to get great water? Is there something more affordable? You could do like just a typical activated charcoal carbon-based system. So I have a whole house filter that is Aquasana based, and that's the company. And it's all activated charcoal for the most part. And it filters a good bit of stuff out. I like it. Reverse osmosis is the gold standard. Ideally one that has a post-mineral filter that will add some minerals back in after the fact. So I do a whole house activated charcoal carbon-based filter, which is good. So it makes the water out of all the sinks pretty clean. It makes all the shower water pretty clean. But then I also have an RO filter for where I drink out of, just to have an extra level of cleanliness. I saw an article here this morning in Texas. A 7-year-old boy died of a brain-eating amoeba in the water, right? And so not so good. But if you have a good clean filter, you would have that filtered out of your water. So it'd be sad, if those kids' parents had a good filter, they may have been able to avoid that. So always, easiest $1,000 you can invest in your home is a whole house water filter. Totally worth it. Get some of the toxins out, get some of the artificial crap out. It makes a big difference. Starting the GAPS diet due to severe mucus, high inflammation, can't afford organic always. When will it be best to take activated charcoal? When bedtime needs to be early? Bedtime's probably good. That'd probably be your best bet out of the gates, is just do it at bedtime. We did a nice podcast on that today. Dr. J, are there any herbs in your GI Clear products that are hard on the liver? What would we do? What should we do while taking the GI Clear products to support the liver? Great question. So yeah, one herb in GI Clear 1 is called wormwood or artemisia, and that can be a little bit hard on the liver. The best bet is to kind of taper it up slow. And then if we need, you can always add in some activated charcoal at bedtime, taken about 2 hours after food and sups. If you taper it up slow, you add in the activated charcoal, you follow my ginger tea, you should be pretty good though. It's a great question though. Really great question. All right, let me keep on rolling here. How do you phase 1 and phase 1, phase 2? So phase 1, so there's all the nutrients I mentioned, right? So I have my own formulations. Other people have their own formulations, but your phase 1 are going to be like your B vitamins, your antioxidants, maybe your liver tonifying herbs. My products are Liver Supreme and Antioxidant Supreme for that. And then phase 2 are always going to be sulfur amino acids and or just pure glutathione by itself. And those are my phase 2 products. That's all the sulfur amino support. That's detox aminos. It's pretty good support. I like it. We extract those amino acids actually from human hair. And so we get it and we can concentrate it out. And that's where the amino acids come from. And it's very therapeutic. But of course, do it as much as you can naturally. And then all these supports are going to be things above and beyond to therapeutically push those pathways to get even more toxins released that could be stored in that subcutaneous tissue. Great questions. What's the best way to detect mold in an apartment? Does your Petri dish kit cover general exposure? Yeah, the Petri dish kit, the Immunolytics mold kit will be a really great one. We'll put links down below here so you guys can get those products if you want them. I'll put some of the links to the supplements as well as the lab testing. But Immunolytics has a really good mold kit that we'll test, and we'll put about 5 of them out throughout the home, basements, any areas where there's been water damage. That's a good first step of testing what's going on. Then we can also do a urinary mold test as well if we need. Great questions. Dr. Knight, day sleep, which is the best for rejuvenating, stress, helping adrenals, and detoxifying? I'm not sure the question, but getting good sleep is going to be very helpful for helping all of that. Would taking cruciferous DIM for a male be bad? No, I mean, DIM is diindol methane. It's a sulfur cruciferous. It's a sulfur basically, sulfur-rich compound that will help with estrogen metabolism. So in my detox aminos, there's a calcium deglucarate. That's also very helpful at binding up estrogen too. So you could do either one. Both are going to be great if you see high levels of estrogen, or on the Dutch test, there's a little marker on the bottom of page 3 called 2-methoxy 2-hydroxyestrogen, and that marker goes high when we have poor, or if it goes low, then that's a sign that your estrogen detoxification pathways may be a little bit low. Great questions there. You mentioned something being a good marker for glutathione level. What is that? So yeah, good marker on an organic acid test would be pyroglutamate or sulfate. If it's too low or too high, that's a sign that those pathways are stressed. You can also do a red blood cell intercellular glutathione test as well. Good questions. Burning sensation in GI tract after consuming hemp seed. Is that common? It could be a food allergen. I would try it with food and see if it's still a problem. Are the Brita pitchers good enough to start? They're not that great. You can get some higher quality ones. I mean, the Brita pitcher will primarily just get a lot of the chlorine down and make it taste good. But there are other ones that you could do out of the gates that are better. But I would recommend, if you want, here are the links that I have for all the products that I personally have in my own home. Okay. So justinhealth.com/water. You can look at a countertop unit there, which is pretty good. That does filter out a lot of junk. You can do an under-the-counter unit. If you're in a place that you're living, you can do an under-the-counter unit, which is great. I'm going to put all the links up here so you guys can see it. And these are things I personally have and personally use myself and my family uses, and I've had patients use for a long time. There's a really good one here, justinhealth.com Pelican RO, that I use for my reverse osmosis. That's wonderful. And then justinhealth.com/water, you can do a whole house. I like the whole house because if you have 2 or 3 or 4 showers and you got people showering, you don't have to change water filters. Shower filters. That gets expensive, you know. $100 a whack every 6 months. You got 4 or 5 showers. It's like, okay, that gets pricey. So it's way cheaper doing a whole house because then now your showers are covered, and then you can at least still drink out of, you know, your bathroom sink if you had to or you needed to, because it's still going to be really clean. I mean, I can show you my whole house system. It's a whole bunch of activated carbon, and it's got a pre and a post filter as well. So it does a pretty good job getting a lot of crud out. So I like both. If you're in an apartment, just get like a shower filter that's really good, high quality shower filter, and then get a countertop filter. That would be probably your best bet out of the gates. But water is going to be like the low-hanging fruit. Like eating organic, getting a paleo template is like step 1, and then cleaning up your water is kind of tied with that, because a lot of toxins and a lot of junk exist in your water. And then also feel free and get some minerals. Just Redmond's real salt's a good step out of the gate, and you can salt your water a little bit. Do a half a teaspoon in the morning and night. You can salt your food liberally. Get extra minerals. If you find yourself drinking overly clean water, it could be too stripped of minerals, and you may find you're not able to quite catch your thirst, and it could be because you just need more minerals. Good questions, guys. So I'll put links down below so you guys can see that. I'll actually do a video where I take you over to my water filter so you guys can actually see it. That may be a good first step there. All right, y'all. Hope you enjoyed today's videos. If you liked it, thumbs up, comments below. Really appreciate it. Let me know what you think. Have a good one, y'all. Bye now.